voice that...
He's a stupid son of a bitch, man.
Done, Tony, over. My advice now is to put it behind you. If this is all there is, these 23 tickets, they don't have bupkis, and they know it.
One more minute, if I could have just stood there saying, yes, Ma, okay, Ma, I hear you, Ma.
Right.
I blew everything.
Tony.
No fucking Tony. We got fucking federal charges. We got the FAA. Got predicates up the ass. Fucking RICO case. Dirty to life. My mother. My fucking goddamn idiot of a mother.
Is there something else bothering you, Anthony?
That's not enough?
A year ago, your mother colluded to have you killed, yet you never say boo about that, even when I tried to elicit if she tried to have you killed a year ago. Believe me, in your childhood, she's inflicted serious psychic injuries that are still there.
Poor me.
And your father, the gangster, tough guy. But did he protect you kids from this borderline mother? I haven't pushed you enough to confront these things.
Uh-oh.
Somewhere along the line, I became frightened of you.
Uh-oh, she about to do some doctoring.
Maybe I should have seen that clearer in the beginning. Rage, Anthony, is a big, loud, flaming self-distraction from feelings that are even more frightening. You go off on a racist rant about Indian food, your demented old bat of a mother. What else has happened?
Nothing.
And I pick up sorrow coming from you.
Mm-hmm.
I had a dream I fucked your brains out. Right on that desk. You loved it.
Sadness, Anthony. Stay with that. Mommy tried to kill you, and you gave her airline tickets.
Fuck you.
And now you're really in trouble.
I'm gonna beat this shit. You kidding me?
Man keeps coming back. While at the same time resisting this shit all the way. It's hilarious.
It's fucking graduation day. So I might as well take this opportunity.
Uh-oh. Is he made?
I'm proposing you to get your butt.
I fucking deserve it. Got no spleen, Gene.
What the fuck?
They let him out for that.
Camilla sees you. She's gonna cut you a new asshole.
I'm leaving.
Great to see your kid graduate, huh?
Not a youth.
Break him.
What's important?
Break him off some bread.
We
For
do
the,
with small potatoes.
no, well, he'll go and gamble.
State
that.
college, right?
You got accepted at Georgetown. A little money pitch.
Listen, Davey, I heard you and Charlene split up.
Christine. I'm getting the fuck out of here. I got a job on a ranch out west.
What?
The airlines are running specials nonstop into Nevada. Fly right into Vegas. 5 hours drive.
Oh no. David is a symbol in this show, and usually in all mafia things, it's one of the few things on the outside that they can just straight down look their nose at. The degenerate. I feel like I've heard the term degenerate referring specifically to a degenerate gambler. It maybe 75% of the mob things I've seen, right? So Tony, he don't even look at him with pity. He looks at him with like, ugh. You know what I mean? Like, I won't say as far as disgust, but
Sal knew it was today. I told him over and over. He's so self-centered.
she think he in Puerto Rico. They had to clean up. First, let me start by saying don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. If you are subscribed, make sure to hit the notification bell. Shout out to all the new viewers. Shout out to all the subscribers. And I have a Patreon with full-length early reactions to things like this. If you'd like to, check it out. So, people who've watched me for a while know that sometimes I like to think about the time period that something came out. If it's older, think about how they received it, right? And so I'm looking at this, and you know, mob movies, they got their tropes, and then just TV and film period has these certain tropes, and this found a way to show something that at that time was stale, and at that time had been done a lot, and they found a way to make it more grown up, right? And because it's on television, you don't have to live and die by those tropes from films, right? So the way they took out Pussy is different, man. It wasn't this just, they didn't go all the way to either extreme. It wasn't this, just slaughter him. And then there wasn't this just crying, like you were my brother. It wasn't that, right? It was something completely different. And for one, the way they got to it, and then how it plays out, the actual death scene, it was dope. So let's start with how it goes about it. So everything's going right for Tony, and we know by now when things are going right, that means ain't shit going right. Because I made the statement, yeah, everything's going right, except you got a fucking rat right next to you, right? And Tony, has food poisoning, but he's having all these weird dreams and shit, but something becomes clear to him, something that he's been fending off. When you're having dreams like that, that means that's something that was in his subconscious, right? Like when everything about it was just reminding him, where's Pussy? And then the fish is telling him, yeah, you come on now. And then he's like, hey, these fish, that are beside me, they're sleeping, right? He's like, oh, don't say that. You feel what I'm saying? This was his subconscious. He knew the story was horseshit. It's some inkling in his brain. The whole chick, even when he got down to Pussy was still telling the story about the chick from Puerto Rico. And then he goes, hey, was that, was she even real? And he was like, oh, yeah, none of this was, all of this was phony, right? And so for him to go through that and have all these dreams, and the biggest thing that I was getting from it, all that other stuff is symbolic and shit. But every time he goes, where's Pussy? And he brings up Pussy and you see Pussy, he's just looking forward. And by the time we got to the fish, it was clear as day. It's like, okay, right? But then using something as simple as, not like, yo, somebody on the inside comes back and lets Tony know, or Pussy makes a slip up. This show is all about the psyche, right? He goes to Dr. Melfi. Anytime there's some sort of issue, he goes to Dr. Melfi. He went to Dr. Melfi between his dreams and in the real life like 3 or 4 times in this episode. And so for him to go over to the house, just search through his things and find the recording devices, that wasn't some jumping the shark type of shit. That was like, yeah, I can see that, right? Because my man was getting sloppy, and to the point that he had no place to hide that shit. He hid it in the humidor. When they came up, you saw him go directly for it when he said, hey, tell him I'll be down. And so Tony taking him out, I also said this. The thing that back in the day when those type of movies used to originally come out, like when they originally came out, 70s, 80s, the sort of modern version of this, the mob films and mob shit, right? In media. The way that the one thing that we come to find out is just off of how we watch this, these guys aren't dumb and they're not playing around. So they get what's coming and they know when it's coming. And oftentimes in the old shit, guys would get caught off guard. And the reason they would get caught off guard was because things were done a certain way back then. Right? Like things were done a certain way. And so we're talking about people who had only been over here for a generation or two. So you may be able to get away with taking somebody someplace and popping them, right? But by the time we get here, Pussy do. You know what I mean? Deep down, it's probably an inkling, but he knew when he got on that boat. You feel me? It's one of those things where, of course, ain't none of us been in this type of situation. I don't know. Some of y'all may, but you would assume that he tried to suppress that nervousness because he had gotten so used to that over time. He was able to sort of suppress, the straight fear. Like you'd figure your hands would be trembling, all that shit. But he was able to suppress that because, as he said, 1.5 years, he had been doing this shit. So by the time he gets there, he plays the music and like he's trying to go along with it just to, make sure that they don't suspect him. Now, the reason I'm saying all this, like, he's trying to make sure they don't suspect him. He's trying to make sure that they don't figure him out or that they don't suspect him in that situation, while at the same time saying, oh, he knows what's coming, is because at no point in that scene was there any surprise. Right? Like, they would have shown that in the scene. So he understands the situation he's in. Now, when I say he knows what's coming, he didn't know right then and there they're going to, but he suspected that. Right? It's one of those things. Every time he was alone with them, that's basically what I'm trying to say. For that past year and a half, anytime he was alone with any of them, he kind of suspected, oh shit, they might figure me out. So by the time we get here, he's just doing his normal thing of, hey, trying to get them not to figure me out. Then everything goes on how it goes on. And you see Tony just, for one, him still being sick was crazy. And you see Sylvia go up and he's like, you know, fucking noise. But we knew the reason he went up because it was bothering him. And you see Paulie being Paulie, no lips at all. It's hilarious because his face has this distinct look, right? Just a slit in his face and then the rest of his face. And he's just, you know, he's just staring at that motherfucker. And we all know what's going down, including Pussy at this point. And while Pussy is saying everything he's saying, it wasn't this fake thing of, oh, please don't kill me. It was him trying to tell them, yo, I only told him what needed to be known and blah, blah, blah. So when Tony's conversing, at that point, Tony already knows he has to kill him. But he's trying to figure out how much they know to see what they got to set right and shit. And he said Webistics, you saw at the end, Webistics is shut down. Right? Like we saw that at the end. And so Tony and them guys, they did what they did. And it's one of those things of, it's part of their business, but they had been with him for a very long time. A very fucking long time. And it was interesting. Tony, in his own subconscious, he told himself, like, hey, you know, through the fish as Pussy, yo, you pass him over for a promotion and all this, blah, blah, blah. But in their line of words, like, dog, that's your excuse for the heroin and shit. You gonna turn on us? And yeah. So that was interesting the way they did it. It was like real, like I said, it was like grown up. It wasn't what we would have come to expect back at that time, right? Let's see. Tony talking to his sister. I think I mentioned his sister before. How she like stays away and talking to his mother, and he still does not fuck with his mom because what happened with her uncle and his mother and him, right? And so he does some shit that's just, when he asked Dr. Melfi, when he speaks to her about, well, not even Dr. Melfi, when he spoke to his lawyer about how, like, yo, I fucking gave her the tickets knowing what was up. Like, I put myself at risk. Like, what the fuck is wrong with me? And it's one of those things where it's like, dog, yeah, at this point, that shit is fully bled over. Because, yo, you put the whole crew out to, you know what I mean? You put all of their livelihoods on the line by doing some petty shit like that. You know what I mean? Giving them tickets to your mom and knowing what that was, right? Let's say it's a mistake. Can't make a mistake like that. Let's say it's on purpose. You definitely can't do that. Yo, the thing that they're doing with the family and with Dr. Melfi, dope, right? I'm back at that time period. We ain't see shit like this because, once again, what I'm saying is real grown up. All of this goes together. When his daughter responds how she responds, she's acting like any other girl when their father lets them down. And that's why it was funny to me, right? But then when they go upstairs, she responds how a person who now is aware of their situation responds, right? Like, she's like, Dad is who he is. And I don't, like, fuck my friends are gonna ride with me. And she like, but if they don't, fuck them. I get some new friends. I don't give a fuck, right? It was on that type of time. And it's this thing of, she's Tony's daughter, for what, right? Like, for real. But then also, she's forced to grow up more in that situation. And of course, she's hurt right there at that very moment. Of course. But what the situation is. So it was dope to see that whole, remember, the daughter running up the steps. Oh, you disappoint me in some way, family, and run up the steps. That's the thing we've seen before. But the way it was handled, that was different, especially at that time from what I've seen, because motherfuckers wasn't handling shit like that. It was, like I said, it was on some sitcom type of deal when we would see shit like that. So to see a actual mother have a conversation with her adult daughter who's like fresh into adulthood, about to go to college, and the child shows growth by talking about the stunted growth of her father. He is who he is, right? Like, that's interesting. And then his talks with Dr. Melfi. In his brain, while he has the food poisoning stuff, he everything that the characters within his dreams are saying to him is his subconscious, right? So when he talked about basically how, she sort of likes that resistance that he puts up. Why else did you come back? Right? And it's this thing of, yeah, she do. But it ain't about like trying to fuck him or nothing like that, at least from what I can see right now. It's more about like, let's put it this way. It's her job, right? So she found a challenge. And did you see at first this whole season, we're watching her just sort of accept the challenge. And then boom, in that final episode, she let him have it. She's putting her 2 cents in now. Now she's saying what she got to say. She said, I see sorrow. I see sadness all over you. You keep bringing up shit that, yet truthfully, it is rage and anger, but that's not what I see from you. You fronting right now. You putting on all this rage and anger. You putting that out, putting that energy out. But facts is, you sad. Well, what's that about? And he puts up that wall. Fire. Because now, going into the next season, we're going to see more of that. Then Meadow goes to Columbia, which I kind of expected because now she can stay near the family. But I'm not, because it's not over there, she'll be away more than I'm assuming she was in this season. But then she still has the chance to come back, right? Excuse me, as a character. And then looks like now we're going to see more of Tony, well, more of Anthony Jr. and how he deals with life, right? Because, he was a stereotypical kid from that generation. Like, down to how he dressed, down to how he responded to shit. And, it's this sort of thing of, how can I put this? It's going to be interesting to see how much Tony rubs off on him. Because as I said, Meadow, she has her father's toughness and shit like that. But of course, she's not a gangster like him. But Tony Jr., he seems to like just be his own person, right? And he deals with things how he deals with it. And my man was questioning life and all that. Okay, cool. But then he's just going through life. So we're going to see more of him because now we're going to see him go through the teenage years. Chris getting his button, as they say, that was dope because it's one of them things where you saw just straight relief. Like, and I fucking deserve it, right? You know what I mean? It wasn't this thing. It was like when Peyton Manning won his first Super Bowl. It wasn't this thing of, yes. It was fucking finally, right? Y'all remember Peyton's face when he first won that Super Bowl? It was funny. He didn't look, he looked relieved. Like, it didn't look like, celebratory. All right. Yeah. And I want to see what goes on with the mom. I did hear that the actress that played his mom, she passed away. I'm not sure when. But yeah, like I said, I thought Pussy Stays would be around longer because of how much I heard that name and shit, right? And then you got Uncle Junior, who had played the game the way he played it. He's a snake, so we gonna see what more snake shit he got going, right? Because he's fucking with Tony because Tony's in charge. He's like biding his time, right? Yeah. Dope season, dope episode. They went to Italy. They got, what's his name, Furio. So look at his crew, his team. And oh, that was another thing. It's almost like a false start at the beginning, right? What I mean by we see this, oh, it's good, but we know what's going on with pussy. Okay. And so everything takes place, everything transpires, and then we see, okay, we see the guys, everybody celebrating Meadow. She's graduating. Tony, you know, the ticket thing, it's not going to be, nothing's going to come of it. Then we also got his crew. They solid, it looks like right now, right? So, yeah, this is going to be interesting to see. You feel me? Next season.